So this is week 50, living in the presence of God. Truth is one and eternal. Realize oneness with it in your deathless self within. The following commentary is based on the teachings of Paramhansa Yogananda. In the Gospel of St. Matthew, chapter 25, we read of a king, capitalized for the K, for the reference is to God, who welcomes certain devotees to the divine consciousness, saying, I was an hungered, and ye gave me meat. I was thirsty, and ye gave me drink. I was a stranger, and ye took me in. Naked, and ye clothed me. I was sick, and ye visited me. I was in prison, and ye came to me. The elect asked him when it was they had served him in these ways, and the king answered, Verily I say unto you, inasmuch as ye have done it unto one of the least of my brethren, ye have done it unto me. To see God as residing in every human being, as indeed he does, is to open oneself to limitless opportunities for serving him. Paramhansa Yogananda, in Autobiography of a Yogi, described a saint who lived in this consciousness as, quote, the greatest man of humility I have ever known, end quote. He described a seemingly chance encounter with this saint. Another day found me walking alone near the Howrah Railroad station. I stood for a moment by a temple, silently criticizing a small group of men with drum and cymbals who were violently reciting a chant. How undevotionally they used the Lord's divine name in mechanical repetition, I reflected. My gaze was astonished by the rapid approach of Master Mahashaya. Sir, how come you here? The saint, ignoring my question, answered my thought. Isn't it true, little sir, that the beloved's name sounds sweet from all lips, ignorant and wise? He passed his arm round me affectionately. I found myself carried on his magic carpet to the merciful presence. If you would see God, watch for him everywhere. If you would hear his voice, listen for it in all sounds, and also in their supporting silences. If you would know God, seek his wisdom behind merely human knowledge. The Bhagavad Gita in the 6th chapter states, one who beholds my presence everywhere and all things dwelling equally in me, he never loses sight of me, nor I of him through all eternity. Thus, through Holy Scripture, God has spoken to mankind. Om. Om. Om.
Wow, welcome. That's really special, and I definitely this time of year it's kind of a very pertinent thing to do, isn't it?
Yeah.
We're starting to explain to our daughter the meaning of Christmas and where it came from, and the Santa Claus style of Christmas. So the Saint Nicholas, and he's got the saint who gave to the needy. He would sit there and give gold or service, and then it grew from there. But it's such a wonderful time. Forget the commercial side of it, but it's a time where we can give and give wholeheartedly, and give that opportunity to all. So I'm going to read a little beginning. Sorry, from Whispers of Eternity, and it's an interesting one. It's save us from religious bigotry. So Paramhansa Yogananda says, our one Father, we are traveling by many true paths to thy one abode of supreme truth. Help us to understand that the diverse religions are all branches on thy one tree of truth. Bless us that we may enjoy the intuition-tested, ripe, and luscious fruits of self-knowledge that hang from every branch of true scriptural teachings. Thy temple is but one. Its name is silence. In it we sing thee a combined chorus of many religions. Teach us to chant together in harmony. May the combined expressions of our love for thee make thee break thy silence and lift us up, as mother does her children, onto thy lap of universal understanding and immortality. Sing along with us to confirm thy acceptance of our chants to thee. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So last week we sort of touched on a little experiment. We sort of went in individually and decided to go into our mind and think of the perfect paradise that would bring us whatever we needed. And then we talked about how each one of those perfect realms of paradise was going to be different and opposing to each other, because that's what makes up the universe. Those that would like a paradise free from wind or rain and enjoy that little paradise of sunshine, the world wouldn't exist if that was all that there was. And so those around the world, there might be someone that loves the rain and enjoys the tranquility or the sound of the raindrops on the trees, because if we lived in this paradise of just sunshine, then the beautiful trees that we love so much, the greenness, probably wouldn't exist. And I was kind of laughing because as a surfer, I love the beautiful sunshine, but I also enjoy the wind, because without wind, there wouldn't be waves. And so we all have these beautiful paradises, and we can expand that out into how we see the world, whether that's the ego of being right and knowing that this is how I want to do this at work, and then being attached to it because that's my little paradise and I'm going to defend it. And we then expanded that out, and we sort of sat amongst ourselves and said, right, well, what is it that we're actually after in our perfect paradise? What are the feelings that we're trying to get from that perfect paradise? And we start narrowing in or going more and more inward, don't we? Because we start then talking about feelings, and we start talking about the fact that really what we want out of our paradise is peace and love and joy and all those beautiful feelings. And this week, which is living in the presence of God, is understanding that those feelings don't come from those things. They don't come from the worldly areas of the world, or the things, the sunshine, the surf, the rain, the trees. Those feelings are actually within us. And Yogananda described life as these beautiful bowls of water. And from these beautiful bowls of water, the moon and the sun shine onto them. And each one is a reflection. And like those reflections are those feelings. They are actually reflections of the infinite. They are reflections of God. And so if you start changing those bowls and thinking every single person is a reflection of God, and it's such an easy thing to think about, but how do we bring that into practice? How do we continuously live the presence of God and in that silence? And it's amazing. We have all these amazing tools, but let's start just with some simple tips and tricks. Instead of saying, my neighbor is loud and annoying, or we start changing the words. Did we say that out loud?
No, it's just I saw other people relating. Yeah.
We say, instead of that and disassociate in them, it is our presence, it's our expanded, it's our family. We are all one, because we all are these reflections, these little bowls of what we are. each one of us in everything that we do, we're not seeking that thing. We don't identify with it because we don't know up until this point of silence and recognizing that we are that infinite light. And that's what we get out of meditation. But our neighbors might think that that loud noise or that dog barking is cool. They associate that with that fun thing. But we need to start identifying that we are a part of that person. We are one with that. We are one with nature. We are one with that sound, that rain that's dropping, that's giving us that tranquility, that beautiful scenery, whether it's snow-covered mountains, whether it's the vast ocean. So these readings and everything that we're learning are that they're just reflections of what we have access to. And so how do we live those lives? And it's interesting because we've been given these great tools. We've been listening to them. We've been listening to these beautiful chants. What do? They awaken in us that feeling. They awaken in us devotion. They awaken in us that ability to recognize that all these things are God. And then when we start recognizing that they are, we're just seeing this movie theater of all these different things, but underneath them, there are all these things that we actually have access to. We can start doing it. So what do? We actually need to, and all the scriptures, all the masters, all the saints have said the same thing. That is, love God more, love God more. And so we have to start changing the way that we see and do our work. It's like when I go to work, it's gratitude. I've been given this opportunity. Sure, everyone I'm working with might have their little niggles, their little worlds of paradise that don't align with me, but they all have the same goal in life. They want that peace, they want that tranquility, they want to feel love, they want to feel those things. They're just not recognizing that they have that. We all have that. We all have that ability to know that. It's not separate. We're all one and we're all seeking the same thing as we plant our feet during that affirmation. We are planted here, but we now just need to start switching the paradigm. The movie is just the light that we're playing with, and there's feeling different emotions. But we're all children. We're all those bowls of water. We've all got that reflection of God within us. So how do we do it? What are the fun things that we can do? We can do japa. Japa is just the repetition of a certain thing. Om Christ Guru throughout the day. Om Christ Guru. I was sitting meditating and down the beach the other night, and of course, what hangs out during summer to join in our meditation? Pesky flies. Some of them not loud, some of them. And I was sitting there, I was thinking, instead of me getting annoyed, which I was, because I'm like, hold on, I'm trying to get deep in here, I actually just turned it around and went, thanks, Divine Mother. And I treated it as Divine Mother tickling me as I was meditating. But we have to change that. Everything that we do, we have to change that thought that actually everything is God and start loving it more and more. And then it's kind of the answer of how we live in the presence of God.
Thank you. And so one of the things about the reading this week and the affirmation is it actually connects really well because Swamiji said the most practical thing we can do is to live in the presence of God. And one of the teachers of our path named Swami Jyotish, he said something that was really helpful to me many years ago, which was, what does it really mean to practice the presence of God? Like how does that look? And what makes it so practical? And the way that Swamiji described this, and then Jyotish has kind of evolved and shared it in an even more practical way, is we become an action of joy, kindness, peace, calmness, whatever quality or vibration of the divine that our soul really resonates with. And then we manifest that. So if you're saying, I'm going to practice the presence of joy, what does that look like in your daily life? Does it mean giving smiles as little gifts this time of year? Does it mean giving little random acts of kindness when you're out and about? I have a really sweet story that just struck me because this is the power of when you attune to a spiritual path that you can identify and bring into your own being. So it's that expansion of the soul because it resonates with an expansion in a teaching that allows us to go beyond this little self. And we feel it in our heart, we feel it in our soul, and it just helps us to reach our potential. And so many years ago, when Swamiji was living, so Swami Kriyananda, he came into a room at Ananda village, and it was the temple. And he walked in, and preceded by that was, you can imagine, a sense of stillness. Then there was a sense of bliss. Then there was an overwhelming feeling of love and light in the room. And there he was. He was love in action, bliss in motion. That was Swamiji at that point. He was this little being that made everyone in the room feel a sense of love and belonging. And every once in a while, he would also share from a place of intuition and inspiration something from Divine Mother. And you just never knew what it might be, but you hear many stories from all the devotees that knew Swami that he would attune to a soul and he would share with that soul something they needed to hear. How would he know? He said, I don't know. Divine Mother, I hear her in my whispers from eternity, in my intuition, and I feel to share something. He would listen to Om, and then he would feel words of service come through him. Why? His goal was to be a channel for Christ consciousness, to live that presence of God and share it. All he wanted in every action, every thought, everything he did was to be a channel for that pure vibration of Om, that comfort, that sense of the spirit in this world to come through him as a channel. And because of that, he could heal people and their consciousness just by his presence. What an inspiration, especially this time of year, to think and go deep into that and how we too, which he always encouraged all of us, we too can achieve that by living in that presence and then sharing it. And so he sent a message through that experience of walking in this temple. He looked at me and he said, what a beautiful shade of red you are wearing. And then he kept going. But what people didn't realize is that previous to that little satsang gathering, had been very, very down, very, very hard on oneself, as we often do, and complete lack of, self-esteem or confidence. And he was a channel for Divine Mother to go into my consciousness and uplift. So to carry me up from that little low place where I was living and bring me up. And what is it? 12 years later, I'm here in Australia. I see someone at the doctor's office. I told her what a beautiful shade of green she was wearing, that it made her eyes stand out. Went about life. I saw her again yesterday or the day before, and she said to me, I'm wearing that same shirt. I looked in the mirror and I saw what you meant. It's a very beautiful color. And she said it really made her feel better, that she had needed to hear it that day. She wasn't feeling very happy. She wasn't feeling very good in her body. So she admitted that little moment of just sharing something in the intuitive space of just being kind, sharing kindness, it uplifted her. But what they've proven now is that anything you do that is kind And you do it selflessly. Not only does it feed your soul, but those people that you share kindness with share kindness from there on as well. It's that ripple effect. They call it, it's like kindness that goes viral. So, one little thing that you might do to practice the presence of the divine, joy, light, calmness, peace, love, wisdom, all those qualities that you can do in your daily life, and then they spread. And that is the gift that we can bring this time of year, but we may not realize the power that is in that. But you don't have to know, but maybe you'll get little hints of the impact that it's making on others. But what you'll feel is more and more like a receptive being, that then your vibration starts to go greater and higher because you're allowing pure vibrations to come through you. And that is the goal this time of year, is to purify that consciousness so that we can be attuning to what it means to be a channel for the light and joy and that consciousness of unity, as you so beautifully shared, Nara. And so that is our goal this time of year, that we too can attune to that and be a beacon that the world so much needs in even the smallest ways, just to be of service and to be a little channel of that joy. And so we now have a little song, or a couple songs for you. They're from